Am I clear?
Jai Hind doston. Good evening, everyone. I'm Major Mohammed Ali Shah, and I'm extremely proud to get a very, very special guest on this program. He's from the Airborne Para Regiment, and he's been a para officer. He's commanded the Assam Rifles Battalion, the same Assam Rifles that I was in. Of course, I mean, I didn't have the fortune of serving with him. We had a very, very good commanding officer, Brigadier Gautam Ganguly, and you saw me in conversation with my former commanding officer and the anecdote we shared. Right now, we are going to be speaking to Colonel Gaurav Chaturvedi, who will talk about his experience as a para officer commanding an Assam Rifles battalion in Manipur in midst of insurgency and his way of dealing with the people over there, sir. Sir, Jai Hind and good evening, and thank you very
Jai.
much for taking your time, sir.
Thank you, Major Shah. Thank you.
जी sir, you are clear, sir. I can see your frame, and if you wish to, you can. आपके पीछे light बहुत है. If you wish, you can come against the light. It will be clearer then.
Just a moment.
Sure, sir.
Is it better now? Huh?
Yes, yeah, yes. Now it's better, sir. Now it's better. Sir,
Yeah.
tell me how was it when you got from Paras, when you got your posting to go to Assam Rifles to command the battalion? So what went through your mind, and how was it like, and how was the experience in Manipur, sir?
Okay. So we'll take this up in two, three parts. One is the good news which you get that you are about to take over a battalion, and the shock for a person who had no idea what Assam Rifles at all. And Colonel, Brigadier Ganguly called me up and told me, "Ke, heartiest congratulations, brother! You are about to take over the best battalion of the Indian Army and 26 AR." So I was in Delta Force, CI Force Delta at that time, and we had a 26 RR over there. So I told him, "Sir, I'm sorry, you are slightly mistaken. 26 RR, I am a para officer. I can't go there." And uh, somebody has just taken over the unit. कहते no, no, bro, brother, I am Commandant 26 Assam Rifles, and I want to welcome you to the battalion. And for the first time, when I heard, I was already in CI Ops for 2.5 years, and it came as a bolt of lightning. Oh God, Manipur again! But all said and done, I reached the battalion, and yeah, I found it a very good. I took over a very good fighting unit, and of course, Manipur being Manipur at those times also, there were operations going on all the time, and there was no ceasefire with a lot of groups, and we had a lot of movement in our area. We were in None, 26 Assam Rifle, and that's how we started. The commander called me and congratulated me and gave me a brief on what he wants me to do and how to do, and you know, all commanders guide their commanding officers. So then I came back to the unit, and how it started was that uh, my second, I mean, for the first 1 month, I don't know who was more afraid of whom. Either the battalion was afraid of me, and I was in shock of them. So I mean, that you have to ask the unit guys. But of course, it all started with a bang, and on a very good note. Brigadier Gaungli left me on a very, very sound footing and a very good note. I was very lucky. And then, I used to visit one or two villages every day as part of my routine. On a stretch of, we were having a stretch of 73 kilometers of National Highway 37, that is the Silchar Imphal Highway. We had our share of tough times. Of course, in 2009 also, we had a Naga blockade going on, wherein they had blocked all the roads coming into Manipur, mainly the Dimapur Highway and the Silchar Highway. So, because of our very good behavior with our villages and the masses, and our very, very ethical operations, and I think actually I'm very proud to tell you that I had all the tribes in my area. We used to deal with Kukis. Another 20 kilometers of the Nagas, the Rongmais, Impuis, and Kabuis, Manipuri Nagas. Going ahead, the Kukis were there, and of course we had some Maitai areas also. So we firstly even during the blockade, we never let the situation go out of hand, and we used to intensely, dominate the area and patrol the area day and by night. And matlab, also, a lot of people used to pray for the battalion. The masses, the villagers in my area used to pray every Sunday for the well-being of 26 Assam Rifles. Such was our terms with the people, and I had a very good time in Manipur. I mean, very tough times, very good times, excellent people to interact with, very, very ethical, very, very principled. I mean, as most of the Northeasterners are, very, very warm and friendly once they come to know you and you start knowing them. And I had to act with all the, interact with the Kolakpas and the Gaon Buddhas and the Gram Pradhans and everyone, and I had no issues with any. In fact, I used to interact with each and everyone. In fact, what I had started was that, it's a normal thing that if my vehicle was parked somewhere, I used to keep distributing sweets to the children and their mothers also. So, everybody used to make fun of me in the battalion because after a while, after a month or two, the children started, the kids started identifying that particular vehicle with toffees. If I have come, then means toffees milengi. So they used to surround me from all this thing. Having said that, of course, during the Naga blockade, also we underwent an intensely stressful and a tough period of 1 year. And but there were times when we used to when I have been out of the battalion headquarters, right next to the battalion headquarters, for 15 days on that area. We had a Naga blockade going on. Then the rain started. We had mudslides and landslides on the road of 3 kilometers, and then a whole hill of 300 meters. It fell on the road, collapsed on the road, and the entire road. That railway work was going on, so the mud came on the road, and the intensity and the flash floods came, and the intensity was so much that there were these wood trucks hote hain na northeast mein. They all got washed away into the river, and then finally we cooked food for the entire village. We gave them food for 3 4 days, and I had to be heli supplied. My battalion was cut off, and then rations were sent by helicopters to my unit because I had no choice but to support the village also. So I mean, it's very sad to read whatever is going on in Manipur presently. But I'm sure that the armed forces and their commanders have a vision about Manipur as always, and I'm sanguine that in the times to come, the situation will start becoming a bit more normal than before, and the happy times will start again. And otherwise, Manipur is a melting pot of all ethnicities of the Northeast. It has got a very rich culture. If you go to Kangla Fort and see that Manipur Museum, it's a walk through the entire history of Manipur. I used to visit it almost every time I used to go. And if I had time, I used to, because I was very interested. And of course, what to talk of the people, the Maitis, the Kukis, and the Nagas. They are the warmest people to be with. They are very friendly also, and they're the warmest people to be with. But somewhere I think situation went out of hand because of reasons best known to them only. Presently, I won't like to comment on it. But yeah, I mean, it's a very unfortunate situation. And I think apart from military solutions, the best solution for all this is eventually a dialogue and all parties to be brought together as always before the situation goes even more out of hand. I mean, as the guardians of democracy and the last 200 meters of the democracy, the armed forces can do that much, but only they can do only that much. After all, the political leadership also would have plans for that place by now or before that also, and I'm sure it is all coming into play. But yes, it's very, very saddening to see all that.
Sir, sir, I want to ask you, when you got your posting to Manipur, you said, "Oh no, Manipur again, Manipur again." तो मतलब इससे पहले आप मणिपुर में सर्विस कर चुके थे यार. You had been posted earlier there.
Yeah. I was posted with my battalion, 7th Battalion, the Parachute Regiment, and I served in way back in 91, 92, 93 over there. And, there was no ceasefire with any of the groups. The roads were not so good. The access of maintenances were narrow and not so well maintained. And I used to stay in South Manipur in a place called Moltok,
Oh yes, of
which
course.
is ahead of Technopal.
It was hot bed that time. अब 90s की में तो बहुत hot था ये इलाका.
Yeah, and Major Shah, I want to also tell you that this. I have been through this whole ambit of Kuki Naga War. There was a Kuki Naga War going on between in 91 and
Yes.
92, wherein
Yes.
the Kuki National Army was formed, and there they had camps in South Manipur, and we of course we also I won't say busted. We walked into a camp and we apprehended a lot of people from there, a lot of anti-national elements and this thing. And there were a lot of atrocities happening between both the tribes at that time also. I mean, and unfortunately, Manipur being once one end of the country, not much of publicity is also there, not much of coverage is there, except for good times, very good festivals, and of course, when tough times happen. So it's high time that Manipur be given the required attention which is needed over there. And in fact, why Manipur only? Nagaland, Manipur, and all the states over there. And a lot of work is needed in that area. Assam Rifle is doing a splendid job along with the army. But Assam Rifles also are called the Friends of the Hill people. And the amount of infrastructure development they have brought in over there, the amount of goodwill Assam Rifle has earned, and of course, I mean, whenever you are in operations, collaterals do happen at times. I mean, that's a fact of life. But it is not that somebody is doing it on purpose. I mean, when there's a firefight, of course, there would be collaterals. I mean, it's a firefight after all. You're not gifting flowers to each other. No? You're firing lead bullets at each other. So I mean, that's how it is. So I take it in a very very pragmatic and a practical manner. And way back in 91, you will not believe it that I have been to the most cut off areas of Manipur at those times. You will not believe it, Mohammed, that we used to find bullets and helmets and everything in abandoned villages over there. I have been to such interiors, and then of course to More. More. We used to go for those long patrols for 15 days into the jungle. Just melt away into the jungle, stay in the jungle, sometimes stay in a village, interact with the people. And let me tell you a very nice incident which happened with me. I was actually a 21-year-old second lieutenant, and we used to paras are very strict about carrying their own weight and their own
अच्छा
food
ये
and
आपकी
everything.
पहली पोस्टिंग है सर मणिपुर में.
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
your first
yeah.
posting there? Okay, okay, all right,
Yes.
all right.
So we were walking through the day for around 12 hours patrolling, and then after a climb, very tough climb, we suddenly reached a village. We saw it on the map also. We were trying to hit that village. I mean, we were trying to reach that village for the night. So as we entered the village, I saw a fire and I saw sounds of guitar coming. So I just halted the patrol and I went ahead with just two people. I said, let me see what's happening. So you
Mhm.
will not believe it. A young boy was playing, who would also be around 20, 21. He was playing guitar. There were people sitting from the village, and they were strumming and singing that song, of Scorpions, "Still Loving You," and that song and that whole thing is embedded into my mind. I'm sure it will never go off. And for me, with a young officer, who perhaps related that area to more like being in a war situation, and you can get fired upon and all. It was a huge shock. I mean, okay, they are also good human beings like me. Yeah, I mean, so we started talking, and yeah, and once I sprained my ankle. So the villagers only brought my ankle back into shape in 3 days. And then,
Wow.
of course, yeah, and then of course we have had our fair share of encounters, raids over there in that region only. South Manipur was always very active. You are already aware of it. South Manipur is a very, very, it's got dense primary, tertiary forests cover, and there are places where even sunlight doesn't reach the ground. And of course, where there are bamboo jungles, the bamboo dries up, and then there are huge forest fires, and all those pitfalls of being in a jungle are of course there. But frankly, I also started loving the jungles in those times. We used to be so much in the jungle that it became our second home, and those villagers, we used to treat them just like a brother, and they were just like more like an extended family you're going into later on. So, but yeah, I mean, see, there is a basic difference between all the tribes over there. There are basic, there are ethnic differences, there are racial differences in them, and like the Zos, the Mizos are, they're a different tribe altogether, more aliened. Then Kukis are a different this thing, but they are all migrated from down south Myanmar upwards, during the ancient times, 300, 400 years ago, if I may say. And I won't, I know their entire, tribal tree. Somebody had taught me in 26 AR only. That photographer was there, no, Mao. You
Mo, of
remember in
course.
26 AR?
Of
Yeah.
course, how
So
can I forget,
Mao,
sir?
yeah. So Mao had taught me the entire tree of Northeast, and I might be having it still somewhere. And so all of them are interlinked. However, all of them have their basic differences of lifestyle, of culture, and traditions. And perhaps what has happened is that over a period of time, as development has taken place, those different some differences have melted away, but some differences have become very staunch and you know overtly visible. Perhaps time is to have some through the military. We have military civic action programs. It's high time that through dialogue their differences be removed and everybody be aligned to a peaceful mode of living. And you would agree, Mohammed, that in those cut-off areas there are people who have never seen trains also till now also in those far-off villages there are people who have never ventured out of their villages. So I mean, I won't say they are underdeveloped. I would say that they are developed in their own way of life, and respect the law of the land, and respect humanity and human race as such. Everybody has a right to live, and you know of course, somehow we are a democratic country, so everybody seems to be a strategic expert. I never claim to be a strategic expert or anything, but I do believe that I would have a little more insight about that area than the others who have never been there, and those chairborne commentators, and who are commenting on the armed forces and the Assam rifles and everyone, that what are they doing and how are they doing. They do not even know how to pick up a weapon. I mean, how can they comment on the Assam rifles or on the Indian Army armed forces? I mean, it's a highly trained outfit we are talking about. It's a highly trained fourth largest army in the world. I mean, how can somebody make a comment on it? I mean, I don't agree with it at all, ever, with anyone. It's a very well trained professional army, and Indian Army has a very good record of human rights. We have always been friends of the hill people, and we have always reached out to the Awam in the JNK and in all the troubled spots, perhaps. These are my views on it. I mean, there
Sir,
are, yeah, tell me, please.
you
Ask.
you had seen Manipur as a young officer, the Lieutenant Saab, and then you went as a commanding officer. So obviously, I mean, how helpful was your previous experience of Manipur now, understanding first, and secondly, how important is it to understand the tribal culture, the ethnic affinity, the topography, demography, the geography of the area of Manipur per se? I'm seeing right now, sir.
See, it is not. It is okay. So my first tenure was not. I was at the junior most rung of the officer corps of the Indian Army. I was the junior last rung of the ladder. Okay, the first rung of the ladder. So it was a very, very enlightening experience to me, wherein I used to go for intensive patrols. I interacted intensively with the villagers. I stayed in the villages. I got injured over there once or twice. I have been to those places, New Sitang, Old Sitang, which are even across More. There have been encounters in those areas. I have seen those areas very well. And, having said that, uh, so starting from Chandel area, which is again a Anal Naga area, it is the major, this thing, Anals and Tangkuls are over there, Manipuri Nagas. Then coming on to Kuki areas of Moltok and below, and then coming on to back into the valley of where Maitais stay. So, I had a very broad-based interaction and a very close, education and learning from all the tribes. I could, because I was interacting with them, staying with them, I learned their culture. I learned that there are a lot of similarities between the tribes, but there are a lot of subtle differences in their traditions and customs, which one has to know as you go into that area. And definitely, Maites are Vaishnavite Hindus, so they are staunch Hindus. I mean, their temples and all are just like which are there here in the main India. I mean, if I may say, in the Indian mainland, in the hinterland of India, Indian hinterland. So everybody has their traditions. It is very, very important to read the history of Manipur, to read a few books which give out the facts of Manipur. I mean, Strangers in the Mist is one book which I remember, which I read. Strangers in the Mist and Strangers No More. They are both by that famous northeastern writer Hazarika, and who has written these two books. They do give out some anti-army sentiment at times. It appears, but of course, he has just given an unbiased history of the area as to what the people feel. So it is very important to know what the people feel about the army and the political setup of the country. And it is very important before commenting also to know the culture and traditions as existing for Kukis, for Nagaland Nagas, for Manipuri Nagas. You know, उसमें भी difference है ना, Mohammed. There is a cultural difference between the Manipuri Nagas and the Nagaland Nagas. So we have to understand that. So every 20 kilometers, if you are interacting with a different set of people, having different ethnicity and different cultural traditions, you have to be very versatile. You have to be very flexible and adaptable all the time. Which which if I want to bring out very strongly, every officer of the armed forces does. He is trained, and he is, in the pre-induction training. We are all given an insight into these ethnicities. We are all given how to behave. We are all given a human rights capsule. That how to behave, how to prevent collaterals, how to prevent unnecessary loss of human lives. So it is most important for people to know about
Yes, sir. Very, very true, sir. Sir, I wonder if you're familiar about Colonel R.K. Sharma from Grenadiers. He got a Kirti Chakra, he got a Shaurya Chakra, he got a Sena Medal in one row. Three
it.
commendation
Yeah, yeah,
cards in one row.
of course.
And
Great.
where he was issued a threat letter. He was issued a threat letter by the undergrounds. And 7 days, in seventh day, he went and neutralized the fellow completely. Sir, one more thing, you have fought insurgency, you have fought terrorism in Jammu Kashmir, you've seen insurgency in Manipur. What is the difference you have found in both, in fighting counter-insurgency in both the areas?
On a lighter note, thank God the northeastern militants are not there in JNK. One. Okay. Thank God for minor mercies. And also, I find the most major difference which I want to bring out very strongly at this point is that the northeastern militants, we might call them terrorists, we can call them ANEs, we can call them whatever, branding you want to do, whatever, semantics we want to use. Firstly, about their training. They are extremely well trained and take a lot of pride while wielding the weapon in the correct manner. You would agree to that. You've also been there.
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, their fitness levels, their aptitude to the jungle, their adaptation to the jungle, being sons of the soil, is way ahead of anyone else in the world. I mean, you can't find better jungle fighters than Assam rifle troops and, of course, those militants. I have been with our soldiers of Assam rifles of 26 and into deep jungles, deep operations. I mean, they're superb. They're just experts in, living off the land in the jungle. You can survive without food for days together. I mean, they just don't need anything. And their body structure and build is tailor made for war fighting. But most importantly, what I have experienced is that they are principled people. Like issuing a threat, you can call it a letter of threat, but maybe I'll call it a letter of caution. And like basic things like they will never attack if women are sitting in the front. They will never attack children. They will never hit you below the belt. They will never attack your ambulances. And of course, when they are on suspension of operations, while they maintain their dignity, they follow the rules by and large. When we remind them, they accept it. Okay, we have to do it like this. So
Hmm.
while they are very, very tough opponents, and as a matter of principle, I respect all the people whom I have fought. I mean, I have a very healthy respect for all kinds of war fighters. I mean, somebody is a terrorist, somebody is not. I mean, that's okay. That's a matter of conjecture, perception, and conjecturing for everyone. Let's not get into that at all. I won't get. I have a different view on that at all. But uh, and they are high. Most of them are highly educated. They are well read, and they know what they want, what their goal is in life. While in JNK, none of this was experienced. I mean, fanatics fighting for I don't know what. I never understood that. You know, uh, and the Northeasterners would they are fanatic fighters. They are fanatic soldiers, but they are not. They are not fanatic. Zealots or something. I mean, they won't get into a dialogue with you on that issue at all. They would talk about their Nagalem and all those things very strongly and very logically. But they will never argue with you on that. I mean, they will accept your view. So, I mean, this is the major difference with them.
Very true, sir. Very true. Sir, yesterday I was in conversation with Brigadier Gaurav Ganguly, my commanding officer, and we spoke about the incident which you also are very well aware of. कि जब हम चार ऑफिसर और एक अदर रैंक हम घुस गए थे NSCN के कैंप के अंदर एंड
Yeah.
what transpired thereafter, फिर वहां से negotiation हुआ, कैसे हम वहां से निकले, and of course I mean I uh, how close I was to the tribals, to the people of Northeast, in fact. And when I say tribal, I mean the people from other communities as well in the Northeast. And I learned the local. Well, language is a very big barrier, which it connects you together. You learn the language, so matlab, you speak in the language, their dialect. Straight away, the guy will come and embrace you. So,
Yeah.
भाई, तो वो
Anywhere
कहानी
in the world, I mean, of course. Yeah.
जा तो ये बताइए व्हेन यू हैड टेकन ओवर, आपको ये तब तक मैं बटालियन से जा चुका था, आपको ये कहानी मालूम पड़ी होगी कि ऐसा कुछ कांड हुआ था, आपको क्या मालूम पड़ा था उसके बारे में सर?
I mean, the same thing what you and Brigadier Ganguly were talking. I've seen that video. And मेरे को ये पता लगा था कि you guys landed up somehow in an NSC and IM camp, and then a lot of negotiations and a lot of back and forth took place to get you guys out of that place. And I think
बट
you
सर
also played a major role in that.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू कि उनके नागवी
Yeah.
ने बातें करी, उनसे उनकी भाषा में बातें करी, उन्होंने नूडल्स बना के दिए, चाय पिलाई, एंड प्रिंसिपल चैप सर, प्रिंसिपल चैप, यू आर सो राइट, मतलब दे वर worthy opponents and men of their principles completely. Sir, thank you very much for your time. Really, truly enjoyed speaking to you, sir. Any last message you would like to give before we log out, sir?
Well, I love Manipur and I love Mizoram. and I have served there. I have done 3 tenures in that area. I simply love the people of that place. I just want to say that my prayers are with all my friends and the people over there, and may peace prevail. May God bless, and may God get peace and tranquility there forever very soon. And if that happens, my last request to you would be that you and me should go together to that place for a visit.
Oh, yes. वेरी गुड आइडिया सर, वेरी गुड आइडिया, बिकॉज एज इट इज आपके 3 टेन्योर हो चुके हैं वहां पे, एंड 4 और कम से कम बाकी हैं, बिकॉज ऐसे कहते हैं ना, ब्रह्मपुत्र रिवर एक बार क्रॉस कर दिया तो 7 बार तो कम से कम जाना ही पड़ता है वहां पे।
नहीं
और ये
भाई, मैं
हकीकत में
कामाख्या देवी के मंदिर में चला गया था, तो वो मेरे को वो नहीं होगा। बट या, आई मीन वी आई कैन गो देयर 14 टाइम्स। आई लव दैट प्लेस सो मच।
सेम है सर, सेम है। मजा आता है सर व्हेन समवन, व्हेन यू कनेक्ट विद समबडी फ्रॉम द नॉर्थ ईस्ट, बहुत ही मजा आता है। इट्स लाइक यू नो यू कैन ऑन टॉक ऑन द सेम फ्रीक्वेंसी। एंड सर थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम, रियली ग्रेटफुल एंड
मोस्ट
ट्रूली ऑनर्ड सर। इट वाज मजा आया आपके साथ बात करके सर। अभी कुछ दिन पहले ना आई वाज विद इन कन्वर्सेशन विद लेफ्टिनेंट विजय पिल्लाई। ही वाज द बीजीएस एट दिस पेको व्हेन आई वाज द एडीसी, एंड वो बता रहे थे कि एक था एक ऐसा ऑपरेशन जहां पे आई हैड गॉन विद दी स्पेशल फोर्सेस, जो आई वाजंट सपोज्ड टू बी गोइंग, मगर मैंने परमिशन लेके बीजीएस से, को कमांडर से, बिकॉज जो सोर्सेस आए थे दे वर ऑल माय फ्रेंड्स, दे हैड एंड वी गॉट अ शॉर्ट इनपुट। तो आई हैड गॉन, तो मजा आया था। सब मरून बेरे पहन रखे थे आसपास, और मैं ही एक था जो मरून बेरे वाले नहीं था। बट सब मजा आता है ऑलवेज स्पीकिंग टू पैरा ऑफिसर्स। इट्स ऑलवेज गुड फन सर। सर थैंक यू very much for your time. It was great
मोस्ट वेलकम।
being in conversation with you, sir. Jai Hind, sir.
या, जय हिंद, जय हिंद। थैंक्स अ लॉट। बाय, सी यू।
Just ending this conversation, sir.